You've probably heard of it. It's one of the most famous and maybe infamous diamonds in the entire world. It's a centerpiece of the British crown jewels, but its story is soaked in conquest, power, and, yes, a deadly curse. So let's get into the epic, centuries-long journey of the Kohinoor diamond.
And that's the big question, isn't it? It's a question that sparks international debates even today. To figure out how one of India's most legendary treasures ended up in London, we've got to go way, way back.
When it was first discovered, the Kohinoor was an absolute giant. We're talking almost 800 carats. To give you an idea of how huge that is, this gem was something out of a myth. It wasn't just about being rich, it symbolized immense power, like a divine right to rule. But today, it's much, much smaller, just over 105 carats. So, what happened? How did it shrink so dramatically? Well, that massive reduction in size is like a physical scar. It's proof of a violent, chaotic journey through the hands of emperors and conquerors. Every cut on that diamond tells the story of a fallen empire. But its story isn't just about its size. Oh no, it's also about a dark superstition, a curse that's followed the diamond for hundreds of years. And the legend is, well, it's pretty specific and kinda spooky. It says, any man who owns the Kohinoor will own the world, but he'll also suffer all of its misfortunes. The only ones who can wear it safely, a god or a woman. And that's exactly why in the British monarchy, you'll only ever see it worn by queens.
You know, the crazy part is, if you look back at history, the legend kind of seems to hold up. Shah Jahan, who put it on his peacock throne, was later thrown in prison by his own son. Nader Shah, the guy who gave the diamond its name, was assassinated. And after Maharaja Ranjit Singh died, his powerful empire just crumbled. But then you have someone like the great Mughal Emperor Akbar, who never had the stone, and he enjoyed one of the longest, most successful reigns in history. It's eerie.
So, where did this legendary and maybe cursed stone even come from? Its story starts deep in the heart of ancient India.
Okay, so the earliest records we have trace the diamond back to the 13th century, to the Kohinoor mines. But here's the thing. It wasn't just a piece of jewelry. It was actually considered sacred. It was placed as the eye of an idol in a temple for a goddess.
And from that temple, well, that's when its wild journey really begins. This timeline tells you something absolutely crucial about the Kohinoor. It was never really bought or sold. It was taken, every single time. It was looted, seized, reclaimed, and finally handed over. It was the ultimate prize of war.
I mean, listen to how the founder of the Mughal Empire, Babur, put it. He said its value was enough to feed the whole world for a day. He wasn't just talking about money, he was talking about a kind of value that's beyond currency. Having this diamond meant you were the legitimate supreme ruler, period.
Now, for all this history and fame, you'd think this diamond always had a name, right? Well, nope. For the first few hundred years, it didn't have one. That all changed during one of the most dramatic moments in its entire history.
Okay. Picture this. It's 1739. The Persian conqueror Nader Shah has just sacked Delhi. He plundered the whole city, even took the famous peacock throne, but he couldn't find the main prize, the great diamond. Then, someone from the court spilled the secret. The defeated Mughal emperor was hiding it in his turban the entire time.
And this is where Nader Shah gets really clever. He hosts this big ceremony and brings up an old tradition of exchanging turbans to show, eternal brotherhood. The defeated emperor had no choice but to agree. So later, as Nader Shah is unraveling the turban, bam, the massive diamond falls out. He was so stunned by its brilliance that he supposedly shouted, Kohinoor, which is Persian for Mountain of Light. And that's the name that has stuck ever since.
After Nader Shah's assassination, the diamond changed hands again, ending up in Afghanistan. But it would eventually find its way back to India, right into the hands of the new power rising in the Punjab, the Sikh Empire. And the mystique around this diamond just kept growing. Get this, Wafa Begum, who was married to one of its Afghan owners, had this incredible way of describing its value. She said if you filled a vast space with gold, it still wouldn't equal the worth of this one stone. It was literally priceless. So then, in 1813, it comes back to India, to Maharaja Ranjit Singh, the Lion of Punjab. And for him, wow. This was everything. It was more than a jewel. It was the ultimate symbol of his new, powerful empire. He treasured it, and he wore it on his arm as a sign of Sikh power and pride. But, as we've seen with this diamond story, power shifts. After Ranjit Singh's death, his empire started to weaken. and a clash with the expanding British East India Company would lead to the diamond's most controversial chapter yet.
After defeating the Sikhs, the British imposed the Treaty of Lahore, and a key part of this treaty was an article demanding that the Kohinoor be surrendered to the Queen of England. And who signed the treaty for the defeated empire? The new Maharaja, Dalip Singh. He was just a kid, 10 years old.
Now, when the diamond got to London and was put on display, the public was, well, they weren't that impressed. They were used to sparkly European cuts. So Prince Albert ordered it to be recut. This wasn't just a little polish and shine, it was a radical 38-day transformation that chopped off over 40% of its weight, forever changing this ancient stone into a Western-style jewel.
And that brings us to where we are now, because the long, bloody story of the Kohinoor, it is far from over. Its ownership is still one of the most complicated and heated debates out there.
This chart really puts it all into perspective, doesn't it? For more than 500 years, it was in the hands of Indian dynasties. Then about a century with Persian and Afghan rulers. And for the last 175 years or so, it's been with the British. This long, messy history is exactly why the claims to it are so complex.
And yeah, it's not just one country asking for it back. You've got India, Pakistan, since the Sikh capital is in their territory, Afghanistan, and even Iran all saying the diamond rightfully belongs to them.
The arguments basically boil down to this. On one side, the British position is that the diamond was legally acquired through the Treaty of Lahore, and now it's part of British heritage. On the other side, the claimants say, hold on a minute. A treaty signed by a 10-year-old king after his empire was defeated, that's not a fair deal. They see it as a stolen treasure.
So what is the Kohinoor really? Is it just a spoil of war, passed between conquerors? Was it a legitimate diplomatic transfer, like the treaty says? Or is it a stolen national treasure? Its past is written in blood and brilliance, for sure. But its future, that remains a really big, really emotional, unanswered question. Where does the Mountain of Light truly belong?